Hello everyone and welcome back to another Starfield video. My name's Brian if you happen to be new to the channel, and many of you guys are. In fact, this is absolutely absurd. We just crossed over into 69,031 of you guys who've hit that subscribe button. In fact, I gotta cringe it out and say nice. It was inevitable. It was always going to happen. I do not apologize for it. I'm sure eventually with time you'll forgive me. Now, Excalion over on Twitter actually says, man, I hope you can catch the screen when it hits 69,420, and I'm going to do my daggum best to make sure that happens. But I got some really exciting stuff for you today. As always, you want to take what people say online with a grain of salt, but I am seeing even more of these reviewers accidentally leak. And I originally saw Jackson here tweet this out, and I didn't put much to it, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm just sharing with you guys what is being shared, and the whole hope is that you guys get enough information from enough sources that you can make an informed decision. But Jackson tweeted this out, and then Paul Tassi tweeted this out, and I have some issues with Paul Tassi. Like, all in all, I don't know him personally. I'm sure he's a great guy. But I do take some umbrage with some of the things that he says online. We'll just leave it at that. However, when he tweets out the tweet that I first saw and then we were first referencing this is kind of what to me gave it a lot of credence. So let's just go through the three tweets, shall we? Jackson says, I was too busy playing Starfield to notice the start screen drama. Nobody is going to give a crap about the start screen after playing this game. Youngman4n says, this game is so much fun. Hypothetically, of course. Now, Paul tweets this out, and he goes, my young YouTuber friends, you cannot do this. And he's trying to hide and mask their identity. I'm not offering them that level of service. And thus, again, it kind of points to that I think we're going to have an incredible Starfield launch. I'm, tapping my hands in a golf clap because I'm excited, and we're going to go from there. But now let's pivot to the discussion portion of this video. I want to bring up what MBG said. MBG follows coverage, Sony, and he's talking about kind of Sony's marketing attempt. I'm going to let him, and I'm going to let this clip run its way through. Just note, whenever I reference these kind of clips, this stuff can also be taken out of context, so always give somebody some, level of grace, especially if I'm referencing it, because at the end of the day, I'm not a React streamer. I'm not going to just go watch somebody's full stream so I can have the full aspect, but just take this. We're going to use this to build our discussion, and I'll be right back.
I'm just, dude, I'm just sitting here patiently waiting for Sony to really kick off the marketing in a huge way for Spider-Man 2. I've been seeing that the marketing for and not just the marketing, but the conversation in general for Starfield is really heating up, as is to be expected. And I still am maintaining this curiosity of like, what does Sony plan to do during this time where Starfield is in the limelight? Is Sony planning on just kind of like sitting back? We got Baldur's Gate 3, we're good. We'll kick off the marketing hype cycle sometime in in mid-September or something, or are they gonna start now? I'm very curious to see, because I don't know, man. I feel like Sony's been doing this with their big games lately. Like Sony could just keep the hype going for Spider-Man 2 from now until launch, but they're seemingly just like, they're just playing it very conservatively. It seems, which I'm not gonna lie, I kind of wish they wouldn't.
My initial reaction to watching this clip is one of intrigue. Like, what does Sony do? If I was in charge of Sony, what would I do? Because I don't think there's a way that you can actually get out of the Starfield marketing, namely because I think we, myself included, Twitter included, like, there is so much going on that I have people that I haven't talked to in a little while texting me talking about, hey, what should I know about Starfield? And it gives me a good opportunity to catch up with them and at the same time tell them about this game. There's a lot of what's called earned media. This is a concept where a company lets us run wild and talk about the game and make videos about the game to continue to generate that level of hype and interest and kind of almost in a way trend, for lack of a better word or an example. And so if I was Sony, though, in this case, this is kind of where, like, maybe it's a dirty little secret about how you actually make money on YouTube, is you focus in on where the advertising dollars are being spent, meaning you make content that ideally will run the ads that are being spent on your content, so you increase your what's called your RPM. You're like for every 1,000, that's how much money you make. I've shared it actually in a previous video. For me this year, I'm at 2.53, so it is absolutely in the gutter, and that's okay because I don't rely on the ads support for my channel's well-being in this case. So on that aspect, I think essentially what you'll end up seeing, and what I would probably end up doing, is that not pre-Starfield, because Spider-Man is still in October, so you end up having all of September. You're going to let people kind of get that out of their system, get their playtime out of their system, and then start to really wonder what's coming up next. And then that's where you go start slapping on those ads to all those videos to continue to generate that level of excitement. Now, I do think Sony's biggest weakness is the fact that they only release on one spot. In this case, a PS5. Now, the strength here is when you're a developer, it is so much easier to develop to one platform. That is not some kind of myth. That is a fact. So the Sony's strength is they can hyper focus in on the PlayStation console, but the weakness is that A, you have to find a console, B, you got to have the money for it, C, if you're already a PC gamer, you now have to figure out how to justify that cost. And so I think for my personal preferences, that's why I really like Xbox's strategy, where play anywhere. Your games are your games, your saves are your saves, they follow you around, and that is essentially a massive benefit to what Starfield has over something like Spider-Man. But this isn't just about Spider-Man, this is also about the perceived Baldur's Gate 3 exclusivity, because Baldur's Gate 3 is launching on PS5. I think this is a smart marketing play by the team at Larian, because this gives them the ability to capitalize off of PlayStation 5 players who do not own a PC, do not have the internet to stream it, and are generally either just not interested, because that's okay. If you aren't interested in Starfield, there's nothing wrong with you. Everybody's allowed to have an opinion and kind of a preference to these different games, but you got to start actually marking off the things that you don't have access to, and eventually you realize you're making an active choice, because for the most part, Starfield is the most accessible game that's going to be released at this level and this tier that we've ever seen in history. In fact, I think this is going to be a very historic moment for the game. But that's just some thoughts that I had, especially about what was shared in the clip. You can let me know if you have any additional thoughts. Again, I'm not trying to take anybody out of context. I do want to try to hold myself to a decent standard, but things happen, things get taken out of context all the time. And if that does happen, and I am guilty of that, I'll try to make sure I do corrections. And that's the perfect time to pivot into the class dismissed, which this is where we're going to talk about what you guys have to say about everything. And you guys talk a lot of crazy stuff sometimes, and I'm not afraid of talking back to you guys in this case. So if you are somebody who's easily offended, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful day. But if you choose to stick around, you have now entered into the class dismiss section of the video. And if you are offended, you've chosen to be so. I've given you free reins of permission, and just like a spoiler alert, while we're not talking about spoilers here on this channel, consider class dismissed. Your opportunity to go enjoy something else on the platform. But I got 3 comments to highlight here for you guys as a part of this video, and I hope you enjoy. Now, Grim Warlock dropping a $25 bomb. It looks like pounds. I don't know, but holy freaking homolies, man. I may not always agree with your opinions, but I respect them. Keep up the great work. This is so unnecessary. You guys do not need to do this. In fact, I don't have a number figure yet, and I don't have the art asset for this video. I do apologize. I was not prepared. This just thought popped in my head. This is going to be the first month the channel actually makes money. It cost me around $1,000 because I work with an editor who allows me to make this content and deliver to you guys throughout the week, because I go work a job. And not that being a content creator isn't a job, but that's just who I am and how I can live my life. And so I've always been fine with breaking even, or even having this hobby of mine cost a little bit of money. Everybody needs a hobby that costs a little bit of money, and you guys have changed that for this month. And so I don't know what the number is yet. We'll have to wait and see once Google takes all the stuff out of it. But I'd like to actually I'll be making a donation to obviously the relief fund out in Hawaii. I don't like to share my charitable things. I'm going to share it in this zone. I believe charity is best kept when it's not like perceived, because there's an immediate, oh, he's a good guy. Like, I don't like any of that. But if you want to join me in that aspect, I'll include a link in the description, so that way if you guys want to go donate, that's who I'm going to donate through, Catholic Relief Services, here hopefully in the next couple of weeks, whenever Google pays me. So thank you guys so much for that. And for this, like, this is absolutely absurd. Please go do good things in the world. And I do appreciate the support. Like, but please don't feel like to get highlighted in a video that you need to do something like that. I just want to make that very, very, very clear. Let's move on, because I'm uncomfortable. Vague Dream says, dude, 7 minutes in and you've said pretty much nothing. Stop talking in circles, make your point, and be factual. Well, thanks so much for the feedback. I don't agree with it, but at the same time, everybody's welcome, and I want to highlight, views. If you feel like I talk in circles and I don't say anything, I'm curious as to why you're still here. Please don't hate watch me. I would encourage you to go watch something good. In fact, that's the secret of the algorithm. You control it based off of what you choose to engage with and how you choose to interact. And so it's very easy for people to get stuck in these kind of, echo chambers, because the system is designed to really kind of put you into that, driven off of your engagement. So if you're seeing a lot of negative stuff in your world, try to engage with positive stuff. You might have to seek it out first, but that's going to be something hugely important for you. But everybody's welcome to your opinions. I'm a big guy. I'm a big boy. You can talk and trash about me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But yeah, thanks so much for the feedback. I'll consider it if I can. But chances are, after all the years that I've been on this planet, I'm probably set in my ways. Anyway, last comment before we head out. Ishawan Streeter 6577 says, you guys do know Hassan is extremely sarcastic and baits a lot. His chat does it to him also. I'm 100% sure he's being hyperbolic on purpose. And that's absolutely possible. I'm not a fan of him, so I immediately, with that bias in mind, I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So he could easily be in that clip from the last video, absolutely just being a troll and, farming attention. But then again, we reward that, and it's weird because we reward that as a part of teams. Grummet's in his tweet, it seems that he doesn't have any defenders. His view doesn't have any defenders, but I don't think he's that kind of personality. He hasn't built that, kind of meme. You take in anybody, any reactor. Like, anytime I talk to you guys about what reaction contest, really is, like sharing the numbers, going through it, no matter what, people come out and defend it, because there's an entertainment property there. There's a value that you get from that. And I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to demystify it and talk about the reality of it. So, like, again, like I want to say, like, as I always want to hold myself accountable, it was obviously a small clip. It doesn't necessarily take in the full context of what's being said. However, what is being said, what is being shared, it's not me going out clipping it, trying to make Hassan look bad. It's a complete waste of my time. But when things like that come in my feed, that in and of itself is a concern, because this is what in the downside of what it means to be in social media and those kind of conversations to be had. But that's why I want to highlight this as a comment to push back on that idea. He could just obviously be making a joke. Clearly that's something that, is good for him and his career that we're talking about him, because as soon as no one's talking about you, it's easy for them to forget about you. And that's when your quote unquote career decides to take a break. Sometimes it's, you'll see them go work their magic to get bans, so that basically acts as free promotion. They can take a nice big break and come back to an overwhelming amount of support too. It's all this weird game that we can all just kind of quietly agree and nod our heads, going like, yeah, this doesn't necessarily feel good, but what are you going to do about it? Anyway, I don't know what we're going to do about it, but I appreciate you guys hanging out with me in this video, and hopefully you got something good out of it. As always, I'm trying to put something nice in your feed at least once a day. And there's a lot to talk about with Starfield, and I'll keep you guys up to date on the news and so much more. If you guys want, I'll be doing a podcast today over at Work to Game. We got Epic Loot Radio. We're going to bring it back. I'm going to be talking with Kurt the Gamer, and we're going to be talking about lots of fun things. And come hang out if you want, and otherwise don't. Just have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you all have a great and wonderful time, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. But until then, take care.